I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the Curling Stadium live coverage from the S3 Group Curling Stadium Series in Swift Current. We have already crowned a champion on the men's side. Still 4 women's teams left to battle it out for the championship here in Swift Current. My name is Shawn, Joyce. Happy to bring this semifinal action to you. Dave Schmel should be joining me shortly. We've got the semifinal here between Bobae Kang and Brooklyn Stevenson. Stevenson, the lone Canadian and Saskatchewan team left in the field. As always, both teams had a practice session and draw to the button before the game to determine who would have last rock advantage here in the opening end of play. It was Kung winning the draw to the button. She's got last rock, throwing the red stones. The play has been brought into the rings. So we've got an open first end here. Both teams content perhaps to play through for the blank. Do the best we can, as always, to get the pronunciations of these names correct. A little bit of an early start here. We were scheduled for 7:30, but the teams were ready to go. And the winners back on the ice tomorrow morning in the championship final. Brooklyn Stevenson, probably the only team here that might be able to make her way home if she doesn't make it through this semifinal. Hoping not to have to worry about that.
Certainly not, Shawn.
And there is the dulcet tones of Dave Schmel.
Thank you very much. I see both teams got off to a little bit of an early start there.
Yes, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. You will not find me arguing.
No, you got here just in time to jinx them on a hit.
As is my specialty, my friend.
So much for the open end and the possible blank.
Well, that would rob everybody of me properly preparing the fun facts.
I'm still trying to figure out. I'm fairly certain we have a sub, and I say that because we have one purple sweater on a team that's wearing green sweaters. So I'm trying to figure out who the fourth player is for the Stevenson team, and she keeps standing in between the other two. Jenna Engie, I believe.
Jenna Engie, there you go. And as we have the Kang rank splitting the house.
And it's Nicole Bender that's missing, so she's probably throwing the lead stones as well.
Splits there. Now there is an angle for the double, and that might be able to get us back towards that blank. So you might as well take that on, I would assume.
Yeah, even if you don't get the double, just to get them closer together at this point in time, You just need one double to get back to a potential blank. Doesn't have to be this shot.
This one is going to head over the other side. Not quite as far as they would have liked.
Now, if that is Jen, and I think it is, again, I'm looking at a pretty small screen here, but her team was not here this weekend, but they are playing next weekend. She's skipping her own team this year. So she'll get, I was talking about it during the quarterfinals this morning. Some of these teams getting a chance to look at the ice ahead of the stronger field and bigger purse next week. So she's still getting a look at the ice.
Oh, absolutely. We're excited for that event. This stone coming down nicely. Not going to get the whole roll again, so another opportunity for the Stevenson rank to bring it on over. Angle's probably just a touch better for a double now.
Yeah, it's climbed up a little bit.
Trying to get a curl. This is still on the outside. It will just come up to the nose.
Kang indicating she'd like to roll just to the outside a little bit. I don't mind the nose hit if I'm her right here, because you get the nose hit and the double is now really thin. You roll a little bit to the outside, you leave it close to a half a rock double.
Absolutely. By the way, here's another one holding out to the outside.
That's a pretty good spot right there.
That is a tough angle for a double.
Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's thin, so you can definitely make it. The problem is half a rock probably goes across the top. Does look like she's going after it. She's got the out turn signal this time, so she's going to get the gear effect off the contact.
So by that gear effect, it means you get a little bit more action off the rocky hit.
Yeah, it'll come off with a little bit more speed. You come over the top turn will tend to deaden it just a little bit, and she does have to come across. It's 8 feet really from where she's making contact to get the second stone out. It's going to be pretty thick
This
on the
needs
first
to
one.
be held. Yeah, it's going to be really thick. Ends up coming just dead nose. A little bit of a roll, but not enough to be spoken of.
Yeah, I'm not trying to roll. She's again indicated she'd like to roll to the outside. I'd be more tempted to roll to the center line here. You roll to the center line.
If you roll to the outside, you're probably going to you roll to the outside, you make the angle easier.
Yeah. You roll to the center line. It's thin either way, and she's going to have to decide, does she want to go after it thin in off or the thin slash, or does she just try to hit and roll somewhere in front of it, which even if she does that, there's going to be 4 or 5 feet of separation to pass it by.
So on the way for the skipper Kang. This is going to go up to the outside. Just need to make sure it sticks around, and it does.
Got a little spin back at the end, too.
A lot of green between those two wrecks. Yeah,
It's
lot of
flat.
green.
I don't see any green. I see a lot of white and some blue, but
I spent
you're playing too much golf
in billiard halls.
Oh, okay.
No, that was billiard halls. Used to have that all day special where it was something like $5 to play all day.
I mean, it's still there. She's going to have to throw some weight. It's about half a rock, it looks like, to get the right angle, but you've got to go 10 feet across the rings and still have enough weight to kick it out a foot and a half.
Stevenson taking a shot at it. This is pretty close if they can hold it. Now it's going to come up just a little bit too thick. It's going to head over in the general direction, but not with enough steam.
Yeah, she had to hit that much anyway, though. It was almost going to go behind it as it was.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be a open hit for 2 for Kang. Final stone in the first end. Just got to make sure this one sticks around. Gets down there, no problem. So hang 2 for the Korean skip. They have a 2-0 advantage after 1. Here in Swift Current, you're watching Curling Stadium.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Saskatchewan, you know Sasktel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With Sasktel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Sasktel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Welcome back to Swift Current. It's the S3 Group Curling Stadium Series. I'm Dave Schmel, joined by Shawn, Joyce, Jaiden Bishop on our production, and Kaylee at our studios. Making the magic happen. Scored 2 for Kang in the first end.
I was telling you a little bit this morning, Dave. I think it was you. I've talked to a few people about it, but the Saskatchewan teams have a little extra at stake here this weekend, as this weekend and next weekend are the last 2 weekends that count towards the pre-qualifications for the Scotties and the Tankard. Of course, the men already finished. Congratulations to Kelly Knapp as they won the final there against Steve Laycock. On the women's side, I'm just looking at the point standings now. Ashley Teveno is out in front of the CTRS rankings. Penny Barker was already sitting second. She qualified here as well, so that should strengthen her spot. I'm looking down the list to see who else was here. Nancy Martin is currently in third. She's not here. Michelle Anglot was fourth. She did not qualify.
So how do you think that's going to shake up the standings?
I'm just looking at, well, it depends because Brooklyn Stevenson's still playing. She is down there a bit. She's got 17 points, sitting currently in 12th. She's going to leapfrog a lot of teams here. Now, I didn't look at the list to see whether they were playing next weekend. I don't know if she can catch Nancy Martin with one event. Martin's at 36. So even if she was to win this event, I don't know that there'd be enough points available. Now I got to go back and look to see if she's coming next weekend. Trying to watch too many things at once, including the game in front of us.
Well, the game in front of us has a center guard laid up by the Kang rink. Then they drew on in and a little tap back executed by Jenna Engie, we believe.
Yeah, it is. It's Jenna.
Okay, then. So now here's Kim Yoo-jung. This one is on the outside. It looks like it's going to jam, and it does. So now, opportunity for Brooklyn Stevenson. She's going to come underneath her corner guard.
I'm still looking at standings. This is kind of interesting, almost in a ha-ha way. I will tell you that even by virtue of her just finishing in the semifinal, even if she were to lose here, she certainly has got enough points to pass the team that's right ahead of her, which is Jenna Engie. You want to come and sub for us and help us pass you in the standings?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's like almost like a couple weeks ago when Lance Wheeler was subbing in for Corey Dropkin, and they end up winning that event. And wonder how Team Dunham felt about that. But then I double checked, and they had already qualified for nationals, so they were okay.
Probably not a huge factor for either team, as they've both got a number of teams to leapfrog. But it's not everybody's going to be here next weekend. That's what I'm just peeking at now.
And next week most likely carries more points being a stronger event.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Pretty sure
that miss there allowed Kang to possibly get out of the deuce here. Decision time here for the Stevenson rink. So they want to just draw on in there and shrink the scoring zone, or try to make a bigger play on it. Looks like the draw, freeze, tap, something like that is the play. So here's Kalen Hammond with that.
Jerry's already way ahead with the strike the field multiplier and everything. He's got it calculated that if Stevenson were to win here, that would add 22.5 points to her total, and that would be enough with where she came in, I believe, to put her, if she's not in a spot, she'd be right in the hunt.
Came down with probably a little bit more weight than they wanted to. They're looking to get a little bit closer to the face there.
Bounces out into the open. Still, it's shot rock. She's going to have to play it, and no matter what she does with this, the Stevenson team's going to have a chance to play a come around and see if they can get their deuce.
So here's Kim Maseo. Little hit and stick right there.
So here comes the come around. That little roll to the outside, I mean, it seems fairly inconsequential, but it means that for Larissa Murray, as she's playing the come around here, she just needs to be a little bit better than full 8 foot to be shot rock. And that helps, because the deeper you come, the more likely Kang just follows it down, sits on top of it, and forces you to one that way. This has got a lot of room.
This is going to get about half buried.
Yeah, they had to bring that as far as they could just to get a piece in behind. That has been, if anything, the problem that I've seen in the games that I've called this week is that that come around on the center, everybody's taking maybe just a little too much ice for it.
There does seem to be a fine line, though, as if once you get a little bit closer to that center line, it really does start to take that curl. But I would agree in general, most shots have been undercurled this weekend.
Yeah, now going to the corner, they seem to have a little bit more curl. So I haven't seen too many crashes, a couple going to the corner, but they can certainly bury. It seems like they can bury them a little easier going to the corner.
Here's another one. This is in danger of jamming. It might make it over the top. And it does. Chisels off their own on the way by.
For the Saskatchewan fans that are wondering about the teams in the hunt and perhaps who's going to be here next weekend, I'm just peeking ahead. Ashley Teveno, who's likely already secured a spot just because of the point standings and how far ahead she is of some of the teams behind her, is going to be here for the event next weekend. Michelle Englot, Jenna Angie, I mentioned already. Jolene Campbell coming. So for a lot of these Saskatchewan teams, this is their last chance, and that includes Brooklyn Stevenson. She's going to need all the points she can get here.
And we see a fan watching, presumably from Korea. Wish them a very pleasant Monday morning where it's 10:32 a.m.
Stops just in time to be shot rock. Gives Kang the chance to be the first one in front of the tee line, though.
Most certainly does.
Nice thing for Brooklyn Stevenson, though, is if she does get a piece around up in front of the tee line and Brooklyn has to chase it, there's a couple of red catchers on the side where, she could make the hit, roll over there, and still perhaps be sitting two, and Kang would have a decision to make. So she really needs to get this buried. And again, lots of room coming by the guard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is strong, really strong.
Be a good reason why it didn't curl too much. And it did just move the Stevenson rock back far enough to have red be
I'm not sure it did, because it moved the red as well.
I think it did.
I think the yellow shot stone.
Oh, we're going to have to get that zoomed in on.
Well, we may end up with a measurement on that. It'll depend whether or not Brooklyn can make a nice draw here.
Well, if it comes to that, I got 2 attaboys on my rock. So here's Brooklyn Stevenson with her first of 2.
My first thought when she let go is it did not look light. And it's still way out there. That's
going to screw up the measurement bit. Or maybe start another one.
still a measurement there, I would say.
So both teams struggling to keep it in front of the tee line there, and they're taking a good look at it.
There's an
I
argument.
think now it might be red.
No, I still think it might be yellow, but there's an argument now to be made for just hitting that rock and make sure you don't give her a chance for two.
That's not a bad choice at all, really, Shawn.
And it comes down to what I was saying before the last one. Like if she only gets half a round here, for instance, there's a shot for Brooklyn to remove it and catchers on the broom side, so there still could be a shot for two. If you're going to play this come around, it's absolutely critical you get it dead buried. And we haven't seen anybody get close to dead buried yet. She's got more ice.
Maybe thinking she'll find a little bit more curl out there in the fresh pebble.
Well, if she finds the weight, could have something to do with it.
This one needs to put the blinker on. Another one that is not light. This is decidedly better, though, and it's going to be just to the back of the button. And it'll be a follow down for a single.
I'm a little surprised she's not looking at it.
So what's the shot of your dreams right now? Yeah.
Well, quarter of a stone. Your shooter's coming into the red at about the 7:30 position, and
well, you would have to know that you're second right now.
You would have to know that you're second. Yeah.
Brooklyn Stevenson, final stone of the second end.
If she's just playing to follow it down, it's interesting to note that she's got over a foot less ice than Bobae had to make the shot. And she's still out there.
Very much out there. A good deal out there. Past everything.
Better off not to touch it.
On her own, and she did touch it. Oh, my goodness. That is absolute disaster because that's 1, 2, and likely 3. Take another look at it, Shawn.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they were sweeping the curl at that point in time. It was clear they were not going to get enough to move it. And by rubbing, they catch their own as well. And I think you're right. I think she moved it far enough that it's 3. It's 2 for sure. And I think 3.
And it is a big steal of 3. And Kang has a 5-0 lead after 2. We'll be right back from Swift Current here on Curling Stadium.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like 1 more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
Don't forget the brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. Okay, well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just 1 more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
And we're back here in Swift Current for the S3 Group Curling Stadium Series, brought to you by the S3 Group, Sasktel, Bumper to Bumper, Hardline, and Asham. Dave Schmel and Shawn Joyce with you. And Shawn, that was just, can't say anything else other than a lapse of judgment.
Yeah, lapse of judgment, a poorly managed rock, really. I mean, she was quite heavy for what she was playing. She only needed to follow it down. She didn't need to move it. And once she realized that you're not going to get anywhere close to the nose of that rock, which you weren't, there was no amount of making that curl that was going to help. I thought at the end, they'd be just cleaning it down and make sure they stayed on the nose of the yellow at the back. And they decided to sweep it to curl, rub the stone, the shot stone, come back and chip their own out. And it's now 3 points on the board the other way. For the attempt to curl there was never going to curl enough to get your point. You needed to curl over half a rock yet. Just wasn't well managed. I don't know whether the line caller wasn't aware of just how heavy it was, because that was through weight on a rock where she didn't need through weight. She needed a draw.
So that has Brooklyn Stevenson looking at a 5-rock deficit here. So absolutely critical to get a multiple score here and at least get back on the on-ramp.
I don't know whether they thought they were playing the double that I talked about earlier. It wasn't enough weight for that, because you're playing quarter rock to hit that, and that wouldn't have gotten that rock out of the 8-foot. Yeah, I'm not sure.
So they did stack the corners, so definitely with an offensive plan here.
Makes their decisions easier now. It's critical they pick up a deuce here, as much for momentum as anything else. And for Kang, they don't need to do anything differently. They just need to keep making solid shots. That's what they've been doing so far. Would help both teams if they could find the draw weight. A lot of heavy draws last end.
That was almost as if they were curling downhill last end.
Well, that's probably tighter than they would have liked to be as well. Kellen Hammond will look to just cross the face a little bit. You can make the double on the top too and roll. If not into the rings, you'll actually make a third corner guard, all on the same side.
And we saw a couple of these shots attempted in our men's final, and this one worked out better than any of those attempts. They make the double, they roll on over and have a third corner guard. So no matter what, Stevenson is going to have something to draw under with the next one.
Yeah. Important for the Kang team to try to get this in front of the shot stone. If they could roll over in front of the shot stone, it might delay any come around attempt. Interesting. I think from the hack end, they want to try a double peel.
Well, the skipper's not buying that one.
If that's what they were looking at, they didn't win that discussion. But the broom gestures suggested to me that they were looking at the over-the-top double peel. Probably a little bit of risk associated with that, because if you try the double peel and you miss the second guard, you're pretty close to driving it onto your own in the 4-foot.
So they do lose the single and roll their shooter into the rings, and now here comes the draw.
Rolled a little too far, though, because now Brooklyn's got two ways at the shot stone. She's got the direct path to it or the double. You know they can't guard both of those, so come around the corner guard now.
Want to get this one tucked underneath here?
Yeah, room coming by, but that's the difference. It has been all weekend long. Going towards the corner, you can have room coming by, and you'll still end up dead buried. Coming towards the center, a little straighter. You have to get a little tighter to those guards.
The initial indication is to follow it down. Surprised that they aren't just going to peel here?
Well, no, just because you really can't peel both guards. You peel just one, it's still buried. They're going to come around again. They can't go for the double peel because, as I said earlier, if you just missed the second guard, it's going into one of the red ones now in the rings. So you kind of force them to chase, and that's why when you're coming around your own corner guard with last rock, you don't mind being behind the tee line. If the other team is chasing like this and just trying to draw another one over there, you're fine with that. I mean, even if they make this shot, you've still got stuff to work with over there. And now you force the play to the corner.
And this one does have a long way to curl.
Yeah.
Come on down, and they will lie 1-2 after this.
It's a pretty good spot. Looking at a shot, playing this basically almost like a split draw. You're just trying to catch this thin, push it into the 12-foot over the top of the yellow, and have the shooter roll into the button area.
You hear the call there, back 8 back line, wait.
They were also discussing the possibility to freeze. It's really tough to freeze, stay on the corner, and yet have the angle set up so that it goes over the top of the yellow at the back 8-foot. I mean, it's possible, but you're not playing with a very big piece of ice to do that.
So on the way from Larissa Murray.
This is already over curled.
Got to hustle to get past the guard. They do wreck on their own here and roll towards the center.
Yeah, covers up shot rock, though.
Relatively easy play, I would say, for red to remove the yellow right now.
Well, it is, but you'd leave a double.
Right, you don't necessarily need to do that.
Yeah. Like the double now is really flat, and you're losing the yellow at the back 8-foot if you make it. If you played the red onto the yellow, you're actually going to leave an easier double in the middle behind cover. I don't know that they're going to want to play that necessarily. She could guard. Guard the yellow so there's no run back, or bring the guard across to, say, perhaps about the A and the AWS air bar logo, and you kind of take away the draw path. You'd probably take away enough of the inside of that redstone she might not be able to make the double.
That's where she's trying to be. Bringing it for weight, and also needs to curl a good way. She's going to have to dig in that last few inches. Pretty darn close to where they laid the broom down.
Yeah, it needed to curl a little bit more.
A little bit more, yeah.
If you're worried about that hit and roll off that redstone, it's still there.
I think you
I
almost
think
have
the
to
run.
try the double takeout now, right? Or at least kick it out.
Well, yeah, you're going to lose the rock at the back of the 8-foot, but you can't worry about that now. You got to get to shot rock while you could. I don't mind the run back. I think it's there.
That's certainly bold. But being down 5 calls for you to be bold, though, I would assume.
Well, a little bit. And I mean, if you make the shot, you're sitting shot and third, and that third shot stone is buried, albeit a short run back.
Straight back.
Doesn't sound like Brooklyn likes it.
Yeah. Looks like they're going to play the Reds just directly. Either that or they're coming with less weight and just playing as a tap back.
That could be too.
We'll give them the benefits of having the brushers in there, and more likely that a half or 3/4 shot is still useful later. Here, back 4 is the call, back 8. Line's pretty close on this.
Even for a tap back, I'd have liked to see more weight than that. I don't know if you're going to move the red far enough to be shot, even if you
got to get up a little bit more. It does not. That was more than back 8.
Well, and it rolled to stagger the 2 at the front. I don't know that she's got the double now either. The double from the one straight back on the 12-foot. I don't know that she can see enough of it.
That was definitely one of those high-risk, high-reward shots. But if that had curled up another 1.5 inches or so, would have been in pretty good shape. So now they're going to assess the situation here. The team from Jeonbuk, located in North Jeolla province, which is in the southwest section of South Korea. It's a semi-autonomous region, a special self-governing region currently. And without knowing more about the Korean political structure, that's all I can say.
Just needs to plug the hole now, and I'm looking around. I'm not seeing a whole lot of ways for Brooklyn to even get in anymore.
Yeah, it'll be very, very difficult to score if you do that.
Might have to try to move some guards with her first one just to make sure she's got a chance to score 1. This was plan B, and now they've gone to plan C. Plan B, they were trying to tap the guard on the angle. They end up a little bit short anyway. She's got the shot off the outside one.
I think that's certainly what you have to do now.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing.
I think the very long guard is in the way of running back the middle guard.
Yeah, probably. Even this in-off, it's not easy. She'd like to play it with the in-turn to get the action, the gear effect, but it curls on the in-turn, and by the time she's by the 2 red guards, it's just debatable whether she can hit that thin enough. Like, she's only looking for half to 2/3 and then come into the back end of the shot stone.
She's going to give it a run on the in-turn.
Yeah.
I can't look better from there.
No. Well, even if she hits 3/4, she might be able to roll into the top of the 4-foot enough to be shot rock.
Brooklyn Stevenson with her first. That's going to end up pretty high on it. take out her own. Lie second.
Yeah, but Kang can hit that with the out turn and roll underneath and sit 4, and I don't know how you score. I don't even know how you cut her down to less than 2. I think you want to roll to just under the reds. I don't think you want to roll past them if you can help it. Even a nose hit.
Yeah.
Even with a nose hit here, I don't think Brooklyn can get enough to the inside of it to play the double. If she's hitting it, she's giving up 1. She can't really afford to give up another 1.
So Kang has a
with as
big opportunity here.
With as straight as that out turn has been and the outside in all weekend, I'm a little surprised she's not playing the out turn. You put the broom inside the rock and just throw the out turn. You know it's going to run pretty straight.
This one needs a curl to get off the guard. It is past it. They make the hit roll towards the center.
Right there is where you want it. That's a perfect shot.
And perfect indeed, and they lie 4.
She's got the angle run to give up 1, I think.
You see that one just gets by there and beautifully rolls on over.
All I'm seeing is the angle run to just give up a single. I don't see a shot to score because it rolled just far enough that you can make the run yellow onto the red that was just thrown, but you'd never get it thin enough to catch the one at the top of the 4-foot. And you have to stick this when you run it back too. I mean, roll it out, it's still 3.
Could you run the one just off the hog line on there?
Well, again, unless you can make the double, and I don't know that the angle's there. We can't see the angle on the high one just to know where it comes by the 2 reds.
Obviously, incredibly difficult situation here for Brooklyn Stevenson. Final stone of the 3rd end on a wing and a prayer. On this one hard. On the one. Off the second one. And holy goodness, you managed to score 1 out of all of that. That's the most impressive single you will ever see.
That is unbelievable. Look how tight they had to get this by the 1 in the 12-foot to get to the inside of that rock. She proved me wrong. She could see just enough. Boy, just about touches the 1 in the 12. If she touches that, it's probably 3 the other way. And she gets her single, keeps them in the game for now.
We'll be right back. You're watching Curling Stadium.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Sasktel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? Sasktel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
And we're back here in Swift Current. Very impressive shot for Brooklyn Stevenson to score a single there and keep herself alive.
Yep, win, lose, or draw, you're going to want, if you're Brooklyn Stevenson, you're going to want a copy of that tape.
That was tremendously impressive, Shawn.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't even sure it was there. I thought where Kang had rolled, she'd gotten just to the point where she could get enough of the inside of that. And what a fantastic shot. It was just barely there. I mean, she just about hit the rock at the edge of the 12-foot, and she couldn't have been any thicker on the first stoner. She doesn't hit the second one. It's just hit it as perfect as you're ever going to see any rock hit. They're still down, but hopefully that we'll see if that can give them a little momentum here as we play in the fourth.
Absolutely. So it is Kang here with the hammer again, with a big 4-point lead. And Shawn, are we going all out for a steal here?
Well, I think you have to play it that way. I mean, if it ends up as a force, so be it. You're still only in the fourth end. You certainly can't afford to give up any more deuces.
For sure. And it was everything that Brooklyn Stevenson could do there to get that. That was amazing.
Well, that was not a particularly good time to be light because that was the fifth stone of the end, so the peels could start now. The double peel on the yellows looks pretty easy. Half a rock, they both go.
And that peel is made.
That's not the peel they had in mind, but she got a little thicker than she would have liked on the first one. It still made two guards go away. It does give Stevenson a little bit more room to work. She's got to get that. They were a little short on the freeze attempt, so there's a foot between those two stones. They'd love to get it tapped up to a freeze, and then the extra little bonus is that right now the guard that's up front is theirs if they had to run it back later on. Now, I would expect it's probably going to get peeled yet, but gives you the chance to come down, try to make this tap to a freeze. If you could leave three rocks in a row, you don't care which color you're running back later on when you get a chance to run something.
They get this one past the guard.
Yeah, it didn't get anywhere close to the line they need. That's the angle on those two yellows is not even, doesn't even work for them. Yeah, they'll go past the red.
Doesn't help them one little bit.
No, Kang can play that. She's going to play it to maybe get all three yellows. She'd be satisfied if she just peels the guard for now.
So here's Kim Yoo-jung
Gets 1, 2, 3, and they all go. And out the side door it goes. And that's a clean house there.
It is. I'm not sure you're playing this hit.
A very wise color commentator I once worked with said, "Down by 4, hit no more."
I might have said something like that, but I wouldn't be going out of my way to rhyme. So I think you're throwing the guard here as much as you try to throw the guard. I would say probably even with the red one, and if they peel it out, maybe they roll into the side of the red and they get protection closer to the center line. At least it's too early to hit this. You hit this and roll, and Kong's got last rock in the fourth end. She's just going to draw.
This is going to curl up on them just a bit and nose it and stay right there.
Well, that might help them in a way, because Kong now looking at rolling to the open side. She doesn't want any piece of going around the guard and perhaps getting forced here. But when you roll to the open side, now Stevenson might be able to throw a guard a little higher up, and there'd be rocks to jam on both ways. You can't just keep hitting rocks in the rings and expecting that things are going to go your way. You're down 4 with only 5 ends left to play and a hammer against you. You got to make a move somewhere. I'd still be tempted to throw one more guard. You make the roll and you're forcing Kong to switch to offense with 3 stones left in the end. Well, for most teams with hammer, if you can make your offensive move with 3 stones left in the end, that's exactly where you want to make it.
They're going to get the hit. The roll is going to slide just on over. Still all the way exposed, and now Kong can go on to offense.
Even if they just hit the nose here. Pretty tough for Stevenson to get around. She might have to try to draw around this stone.
They're thinking it's just up a little bit. Going to curl up to the nose. They're not going to get any kind of roll.
No,
just
but that's
right
enough to chop off the path to the guard.
Absolutely.
Stevenson's just thinking full bore for the force now. If you were thinking about trying to score it all, you'd probably have to come around here. Come around the stone that was just thrown. You're hoping for a mistake, and then you'd sit 2 in the 8 foot somewhere.
And they make the hit and stick right there.
Yeah, Kong has to be a little bit careful here. If you roll under for sure, Stevenson's coming around everything. If you roll half under, she's probably coming around everything. If you hit this right on the nose. I'm not sure she could roll behind cover and still be in the rings.
First shot for Kang here in the fourth. Could be right on the nose.
Yeah, but if you roll behind cover, are you going to be in the rings? I'm not sure you will.
Don't you just have to draw around?
Well, it's certainly an option. It's a tough shot, but a blank is
really bad.
Yeah. They did indicate that they thought they could maybe bite. I'm not sure you can with the out turn. If you could play the in turn, because then it rolls off a little bit different, but you can't. The guard's in the way.
Milestone for Brooklyn Stevenson.
Well, that was not narrow either. She'll get into
right up, right up to the nose. Let's see if we have a little piece of the rings. I don't think you do.
Well, she can play it anyway. A nose hit blanks the end. But a blank end is really a victory at this point for the Kang team. They've now got a 4-point lead. Could be down to 4 ends to play with last rock in that 4-point lead. That becomes steal time for sure for Brooklyn Stevenson. You need 1 point in just to get to an extra.
Milestone in the fourth. Looking for the blank. And that is accomplished. They keep a 4-point lead with hammer as we head to the fifth. From Swift Current, we'll be back right to this.
Handcrafted in Canada, Artline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions.
I just think I had to boom a little bit too close.
The best brew in the game.
Vibration off my voice.
Join the revolution.
And then transmit it into the microphone. And yada, yada, yada.
Looks good. I mean...
All right. Well, I reconfigured some things.
Handcrafted in Canada, Artline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade.
Holy smokes.
Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is back.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like 1 more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know.
Jaiden Bishop on the production. Blank end in the fourth. Leaves Kang with a 4-rock advantage with hammer. And Shawn, we're probably looking all aboard the steel train for Team Stevenson now.
I would have to hope so. It's and with the tight guard, you think this is a good opportunity to throw the long one. You're 4 points down with 4 ends to play. You got to steal 1 point in just to get to the extra. If you force somewhere along the line, that means out of the 4 remaining ends, you could only score in 3 of them, and the force of 1 would mean you'd have to make up 5 points in 3 ends. That's pretty tough, even with the hammer in one of them.
And that one gets back to the center. It does touch that center line.
You're playing with a sub at lead who usually plays skip and doesn't throw that real high guard very often.
There is a true art form to that. It is just as difficult to throw that one guard as it is to draw the pin.
It'd be harder depending on the area you grew up in. I'm in the era that if you hogged the rock, it was costing you a round of drinks. So it was in your mindset, I'm never going to be short of the hog line.
We have a different use for our pig. If you leave something lay around the lounge, it gets put into jail and you have to pay the pig a few bucks to get it out. Helps to keep things tidy for sure. This one is holding out there just like we've seen pretty much everything along that line.
I thought they'd stop sweeping that when it got by the guard. You had good angle as long as you stayed in front of the red. It actually came back a little too far. Have to figure the guard's going to be peeled now. That was the 5th stone, so you can start peeling guards now.
So that'll be up to Jeonbuk. Just going to take the top one off. Immediate order to put it right back.
Yep. This will be, if the opposition doesn't want that guard there, put it back. There'll be that little bit of cat and mouse now. It's when do you make your move in the rings? If you wait one rock too many, Kong might decide to change gears. I don't think with a 5-point or with a 4-point lead, I think you can wait pretty late. I think if you're Stevenson, you're probably not coming into the rings until he skips first. Assuming all the peels are made.
That is that very nice high guard. So high it doesn't even make it onto the split screen.
And dead lined up to the tight guard. So all I can do is peel the long guard.
And they peel it just like a potato.
Third stone's now. Larissa Murray will have to try to put it back. I think you're probably throwing 2 more centers. And then Brooklyn on her first might try to come down, get just to the face of that yellow, tap it back a few inches. Enough to be shot rock, leave her shooter kind of in the pocket between the two of them.
That is not quite as lined up.
It's close. It's a little tighter.
Still probably just a straight peel, I would think.
I would think so, that any attempt at a double, it's yellow into yellow, but it's coming into the red in the 12-foot, and that might not make things better for the Kong team. Just get rid of the long guard. A little soft on the release there. Holds.
And they're trying to decide whether they're going to get one more time. And they will.
I think you're throwing one more guard. The only thing you might do other than throw one more guard is, and this, I mean, you could do it. I'm not sure that I would. You could play the yellow onto the red so that now the stagger at the front of the house is 2 yellow stones. I'm not sure that gains you anything. Do not want to be tight here.
That appears to be tight.
Yeah, this is a hard double to miss. Not 100% sure which side of the nose she's trying to hit this on. She could play it the same way. They still go. They're overlapped just enough. She could hit it slightly on the center line side, make the 2 yellows, and then she'd have to roll a long way, though.
So, Mincio. Makes them both leave.
Yeah, left her shooter there, though. They didn't have to leave the shooter. That actually gives Brooklyn a couple more choices. You could come around that one. That's what she's looking at now. The freeze the pocket is still pretty good.
Sure, for sure. I think the come around the staggers are better for you right now.
Well,
how deep do you want to come with this?
You know, I'm not so sure that you don't want to come right to the back 4, and I say that not because of the lineup of the rocks. It's just because of the amount of curl that we've seen here. You might have to get to the back 4 to be buried on the guard. If you can convince Kong to try to follow it down with a draw, you're probably okay with that. Maybe doesn't look as good from the hacks. The tap and sit frozen in the pocket is still pretty good shot.
They're going to come on down and take another look at it.
Well, and part of the consideration here is that this is probably the shot they've been thinking about all in. This is, you know, as you were playing the guards and getting them peeled off, this was the shot you knew you were going to have at this point in the end. I don't know that I'd want to move it that far.
Both these teams playing for a chance to go to the finals.
See, if you're tapping this rock, I think you only want to move it back 6 inches, just enough to be shot rock. You move it all the way to the back of the 4, which she was talking about, because if you don't get to the inside when you do that, or if you touch it off the red, you're going to leave a double. Whereas if you only move it 6 inches back, I don't think she can get to the inside far enough to make the double. And if she tries it, she's risking a jam onto the red. So I don't think you want to be as deep with this one as you would have if you're playing the come around on the other side. This was the spot in the third end where everybody kept throwing heavy and did not get the line. Like, this is the same broom she had on the shot at the end where she gave up 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, pardon me, that was the second end. This does not look like it's getting by the red, though. Just didn't look like a lot of ice for straight draw. I thought she was throwing bigger weight. Doubles there. Even if you lose your own off the top of the forefoot's not the end of the world.
Because the only place to hide is going to be underneath at least a 4-foot, and you still easily have a draw.
Yeah. If you could get at that second shot stone directly, you might be able to sit 3 off that. That's not a bad result either. You can see more than half of it. You could make that play if you wanted to.
Other semifinals, a tight one, tied up between Schwaller and Herligman at 5 in the 5th.
See Kang jump up and get out of the way. That really wasn't for us. Their other player made their way down to the hacks to see what she could see from the hacks. But it worked for us, too. We could see what she could see. There's about 2/3 of that. She could make a play directly on the second shot stone. Could play it with some weight, too, and almost play it like a double. You hit the red-yellow right in the middle. You kill that stone, you'd be sitting 2. And you saw that little gesture. It's kind of that around the horn gesture. It might spin up in behind the guard as well. It doesn't have to spin up very much if you play it that way to not leave the inside corner for Brooklyn. She's still going to have that yellow in the 12-foot. She's probably going to have to play it straight back. That is likely all she's going to have for her last one. This is out there a long ways. Still on the guard. Well, you could hit it and sit 2, but how do you not leave a double? I don't think there is a way to not leave a double. Yeah, I'm not seeing much of a good result off this. In my mind, and I don't know whether you play it, but you might want to talk about it. Do you play what happens if you play the slash double on the reds? She's going to have to play the straight back double for 1, and there's a chance she doesn't hit the second rock or she dead jams it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nowhere you can roll off this where you're not leaving a double for 2. You just can't. There's not enough air.
Could you ever just draw around the out turn side?
You could, but I mean, you're only sitting 1. It's a tough draw to even get there.
Yeah. Trying to make it curl. Final stone for Brooklyn Stevenson. Makes a hit. They lie too, but the double is queued up.
Yeah, she can't any more than see the outside of it. I mean, the red's kind of in the way.
You are forcing your opponent to make a shot here.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same path she just threw. Well, I don't know whether she set the last one a little bit. It stayed out there. If she touches the red one this time, she's She's given up one for sure, and it might be two. If you catch the red come across the top of the second one, it might just keep on spinning. She has to hit ever so slightly on the broom side to get the double.
Final stone of the fifth. Racing 2. The team from Jeonbuk, Korea. They've cleared the guard. On the one, make the double, and that is a score of 2. And that'll be the game. So you can hang that final score as 7-1 in favor of Bobae Kang over Brooklyn Stevenson.
So she gets to go back to the hotel room a little bit early tonight, get some sleep, and she'll be back here for the final tomorrow morning.
And that final tomorrow morning will be at 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Mountain Time, Eastern Time, rather.
Yeah, you're going the wrong way.
I am. Yep.
Just wait till we have you trying to convert it to the time in Newfoundland. Oh, I think we might have lost Dave's mic. We've had some trouble with him technically, but if we're going to lose his mic, that's as good a time for it as any. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight for this semifinal action here from Swift Current. You've been watching the S3 Group Curling Stadium Series on Curling Stadium Swift Current. We've had all the action for you all weekend long, men's and women's play. Still one semifinal going on. You can move on over to catch the last little bit of that semifinal. And then the final tomorrow morning. We'll be also back here next weekend for another outstanding event, the RBC Wealth Management event. Stronger field, a lot of curling yet to come from Swift Current, and a lot of curling yet to come all season on the Curling Stadium. On behalf of myself, Shawn, Joyce, Dave, Schmel, we want to thank you for joining us tonight and look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning for the final and throughout the rest of the curling season.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Bat has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brewed in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Saskatchewan, you know Sasktel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With Sasktel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Sasktel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sasktel.com/sponsorships.